Okay, let's dive in. Imagine your phone, the thing that's always with you. Imagine it silently betraying your trust. Hmm. Every conversation, every private text, even your photos potentially just, well, an open book for someone
That's a
else.
chilling thought, isn't it? And this isn't science fiction.
No, exactly. It's the very real, unsettling core of the Pegasus spyware controversy we're looking into today.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how this technology, which presumably had a specific, maybe even legitimate original purpose,
Right.
has just blown up into this huge debate about, well, fundamental things like the power balance between us as individuals and the state in our digital lives.
Absolutely. And the latest scene in this whole drama played out just this past Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, right in the Indian Supreme Court.
Yeah, Justices Surya Kant and N. Kodaswar Singh are handling this one.
Correct. And they're grappling with a really tough question. Should this technical report, the one investigating the alleged Pegasus use, be made public?
It's a classic dilemma. You've got national security on one side.
And individual privacy on the other. That right to keep your digital life, well, private. It's a tricky balancing act.
It really is. It captures the paradox of our age, doesn't it? Governments say, look, we need these sophisticated tools to protect against threats.
Which sounds reasonable on the surface.
But then, without transparency, without accountability, the risk that those same tools could be turned against the very freedoms they're meant to defend, that becomes very real.
So for anyone maybe just catching up, let's quickly break down what Pegasus actually is.
Good idea.
Think of it like a digital ninja, super sophisticated software from an Israeli company, NSO Group.
And its purpose, if it gets onto your phone,
Is total access. We're talking texts, calls. It can even switch on your phone's camera or microphone without you having a clue.
suddenly that private chat, that photo you just took, it
Yeah.
feels exposed.
It's like someone reading your personal diary and then, maybe broadcasting it. That level of intrusion.
And the alarm bells really started ringing back in 2019. Reports surfaced suggesting Pegasus might have been used against, well, a pretty wide range of people in India.
Yeah, politicians, journalists, activists.
And then an international media investigation claimed over 300 Indian phone numbers were on a list of potential targets. That sheer number, that really sparked widespread concern.
It did, and that's what pushed the Supreme Court to step in back in 2021.
Right. They set up an independent technical committee.
Led by a former judge, R.V. Raveendran, and some serious cyber experts, Naveen Kumar Chaudhary, Prabharan P., Ashwin, and Nilgu Maste.
Their job basically was to figure out two main things.
One, did the Indian government actually buy and use Pegasus? And two, investigate those claims about WhatsApp being hacked.
Setting up that independent group was crucial, wasn't it? It showed the court was taking this incredibly seriously. They needed experts to cut through the technical fog.
Definitely. So fast forward to August 25th, 2022. The panel submits its report.
And this is where it gets interesting.
Right. They did find malware, malicious software on 5 of the 29 phones they looked at.
Okay, so some kind of intrusion was detected.
Yes, but, and this is the big but, they couldn't say for certain that this malware was Pegasus.
So it was like finding footprints in the mud. You know someone was there.
Exactly. But was it a tiger or just, the neighbor's cat? They couldn't definitively say it was the big, dangerous predator, Pegasus.
That ambiguity is really at the heart of the current debate, isn't it? Finding malware is bad enough, but without that specific Pegasus link, it leaves room for doubt, for interpretation.
What kind of malware was it? Who put it there? Lots of questions.
And adding another layer, well, let's just say it complicates things.
Yeah, the central government apparently didn't fully cooperate with the panel's investigation.
The court actually noted that lack of cooperation on the record.
Which, doesn't exactly scream transparency, does it? It makes you wonder, what aren't we being told?
That lack of full engagement really hinders getting a clear picture. It raises big questions about governmental accountability and surveillance matters, especially with such powerful tech involved.
Now, besides the technical panel, there was also Justice Raveendran's overseeing panel, helped by Alok Joshi and Sandeep Oberoi.
And they put together a pretty substantial report, apparently in 3 parts.
And one of their big recommendations: we need to seriously look at amending our privacy laws and boosting cybersecurity.
Taking a step back, that recommendation really highlights a potential weakness in the system, doesn't it?
It seems so.
This whole Pegasus situation just throws into sharp relief how urgently we need a strong legal framework, one that clearly says This is how far state surveillance can go, and here's how we protect everyone's basic right to privacy.
So that brings us back to the courtroom last Tuesday, April 29th. It really felt like the culmination. Transparency versus security head to head.
Definitely. The arguments presented really laid bare that core tension. You could see both sides digging in on their main points.
On one side, you had people like the journalist Paranjoy Guhathakuta. His lawyer, Dinesh Trivedi, argued strongly for releasing the report.
Their main worry seems to be about ongoing use, right?
Exactly. Trivedi basically said, look, if they have this tool, what's stopping them from using it right now, today? It paints this picture of potentially continuous hidden surveillance.
That's a powerful argument for public oversight, isn't it? That transparency is essential to keep power in check and protect civil liberties.
But then the government side, represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, pushed back hard, focusing on national security.
The argument being that spyware is necessary against genuine threats, like terrorists.
Pretty much. He argued that terrorists, for instance, shouldn't expect privacy and warned against a broad fishing expedition type of inquiry.
But Justice Kant had a really sharp response to that, didn't he?
He did. He said something like, okay, using spyware against terrorists might not be wrong in itself. The question is, against whom are you using it?
That just cuts right to the chase. It acknowledges the potential legitimate use, maybe,
Right.
but immediately flags the danger. The need for strict rules, clear targets, and oversight to prevent misuse. Who decides who the target is and why?
And senior advocate Kapil Sibal, also arguing for the petitioners, he brought up the WhatsApp hack admission from the U.S. case.
Ah, right. Using that to argue for disclosure.
Yes, arguing that at the very least, redacted parts of the report should be shared with people who might have actually been targeted.
A sort of middle ground, perhaps?
While another lawyer, senior advocate Shyam Devan, went all in, demanding the full, unredacted report be released. No holding back.
So quite a range of positions on transparency being argued there, from full disclosure to a more targeted sharing.
In the end, though, the court didn't make a final call right then. They decided to push the next hearing to July 30th, 2025.
So no immediate answer on how much, if any, of the report will see the light of day.
We're kind of left hanging, waiting for that next date.
It suggests the court is really weighing this carefully. They're clearly wrestling with these competing, very legitimate concerns. Security versus privacy. Trying to find the right path.
And let's be clear, this isn't just some abstract legal fight far away. This directly impacts you, listening right now.
Absolutely.
Because at its heart, this is about your right to privacy in the digital age. Are your private chats, your personal data, actually private?
The implications go way beyond just Pegasus. It forces all of us, as a society, to ask fundamental questions about state surveillance. How much is okay? What safeguards do we absolutely need?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Who gets to label someone a bad guy deserving of surveillance?
Right.
Could these tools be used against journalists just trying to do their jobs or activists speaking out? How do we ensure there's no abuse of power?
These are the tough, uncomfortable questions that technology like this forces us to confront. The potential for mission creep, for misuse. It's all very real without strong oversight.
It feels like this constant battle, this tug of war, security on one side, privacy on the other.
Both vital for a functioning democracy.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah.
And finding that balance, that perfect equilibrium in today's world, well, it feels incredibly difficult.
It's maybe the defining challenge for democracies right now. It needs a real understanding of security needs, yes, but also an unbreakable commitment to individual rights.
Whatever the final outcome here, this whole saga feels like a massive wake-up call for India.
Especially regarding our privacy laws and cybersecurity readiness.
That recommendation from the panel about amending privacy laws suddenly feels much more urgent. And that personal data protection bill we've heard about for so long.
Maybe its time has finally come. The Pegasus issue has certainly highlighted the need for a clear, modern legal framework for data protection and surveillance.
And it's also shown how crucial strong cybersecurity is against all sorts of threats, state-sponsored or otherwise.
Definitely.
So as we wait for July 30th, it leaves us all with a pretty big thought, maybe a slightly uneasy one. How do we navigate this world where our personal devices, these things we rely on so much, could potentially be turned against us? What steps can you personally take to guard your own privacy in this landscape?
It's something we all need to stay curious about, stay informed on. It's not going away.